Beyonce fans are not too happy with the star right now. From ticket prices to defending her husband, this is why her fans are turning against her. Now Beyonce is going on tour again, and fans are so upset about her ticket prices. The average price for Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour is between $70 and $400, but fees can add a lot to the cost. Now VIP packages range from $732 to $2,958, which is honestly just insane, especially since the VIP package doesn't include a meet and greet. Now fans are now furious over this, which I feel like they have every right to be. Beyonce, what are those prices? Oh London Bayhive, it's so over, F you Ticketmaster, one person tweeted, while another said, Beyonce, you must be pranking the world with these ticket prices, what the heck. Fans also complained because her tickets from her last tour were cheaper. Now some people even joked that the prices went up after her Grammy win. Then, of course, with all ticket sales, scalpers got some, and the resale prices are crazy. It should honestly be illegal. Beyonce's team should do something about it because it's honestly not fair, and I see why Beyonce fans are upset with her, because her net worth is an estimated $826 million. She doesn't need to be hurting her fans like this at all. Now, in October, Beyonce was faced with controversy after speaking at one of Kamala Harris's rallies in Texas. Amber Rose called her out for stealing her speech from the Republican National Convention. Amber Rose claimed that Beyonce wants to so badly be like her that she literally stole her whole speech. Both Beyonce and Amber Rose put an emphasis on motherhood in their speeches, while Beyonce declared her identity as a mother who is concerned about the world for her children. Now, Amber posted about this on Instagram. She wanna be me so bad, literally took my whole speech, she said. Now her comment was further followed by an eye-rolling emoji. Now despite some similarities, neither Beyonce nor her team have responded to any of the allegations made by Amber Rose, but a lot of people think that Amber was reaching and that Beyonce doesn't even know or care about who she is, but this did cause a stir on social media. Now Beyonce has also faced some controversy over some of her lyrics. In August 2022, Beyonce announced that she would change the lyrics to her song Heated, following backlash from disability rights activists. Now the track includes the line "spazzin' on that," which features a slang term derived from the word spastic. Now activists argue that the word is considered a slur among people with cerebral palsy. The word, not used intentionally in a harmful way, will be replaced, her team said in a statement at the time. Now, the line was replaced, but this wasn't the only time people have had an issue with her lyrics. Beyonce's 2013 song Partition includes the lyrics, "He popped all my buttons and he ripped my blouse. He Monica Lewinsky'd all over my gown." Now, Monica has actually spoken out about how she doesn't like the lyrics by saying, "Thanks Beyonce, but if we're verbing, I think you meant Bill Clinton'd all on my gown," she wrote in a 2014 essay for Vanity Fair. And hey, I can't really blame her for being upset either. Of copying Italian singer Lorella Carcanini and a performance she did 1 year prior in 2010. Now Beyonce later explained that she was inspired by Lorella, adding that she had no intentions of stealing her stunning visuals. But this just confirmed that she did see her performance, making it clear that she did steal it. Now there wasn't much backlash after this, but shortly after in 2016, she was sued in court by an artist claiming that she stole visuals for her Lemonade album from a short film. Beyonce, Sony, Columbia, and the pop stars Parkwood Entertainment were all sued by indie filmmaker Matthew Folks. Matthew claimed that Beyonce stole 9 different scenes from his short film and claimed that he sent Parkwood Entertainment the short film, so he knows that several employees who worked on Lemonade had access to it. Now 1 month after his June 2016 filing, Beyonce's attorneys hit back, arguing that the visuals did not fall under copyright infringement. Now they also argued that the narrative was completely different. In the end, US District Judge Jed Rakoff agreed, dismissing the suit in September 2016. Now we have the time that Beyonce disrespected all of her fans who were a part of the LGBTQ community. Now Beyonce performed in Dubai on January 21st, 2023 at the opening of the Atlantis, the Royal Luxury Hotel. Now the concert was her first live performance in over 4 years, and despite a strict no phones policy at the exclusive 1,500 seat gig, footage of the show flooded the internet. Now fans were happy about her comeback, but they weren't happy with where she was performing. You see, Dubai has strict laws against same-sex relationships, and Renaissance, her latest album at the time, which she performed, had been celebrated for honoring Black queer culture and taking inspiration from LGBT icons. So with that in mind, and her performing in a place that is directly against that, people were upset. Also, it's not like she needed the money. It was reported that she was paid $24 million for this gig, which again, she didn't really need. A lot of fans were hurt by her actions and called her out, which I think is completely valid. Then, there were multiple times Beyonce was straight up disrespectful in her music and performances. The song EXO from Beyonce's 2013 album begins with audio of NASA's officer talking about a major malfunction involving the Challenger space shuttle, which exploded just over a minute after its launch. 7 astronauts passed away in the tragic incident, so it seemed a little insensitive for Beyonce to use the audio in her song. Now, she was called out for this, and in a statement to ABC News, she tried to explain that she intended for the audio to be a tribute to those who passed away aboard the Challenger. "My heart goes out to the families of those lost in the Challenger's disaster," she said at the time. The song XO was recorded with the sincerest intention to help heal those who have lost loved ones and to remind us that unexpected things happen, so love and appreciate every minute you have with those who mean the most to you. The songwriters included the audio in tribute to the unselfish work of the Challenger crew with the hope they will never be forgotten, she said. But this was just unnecessary to have in the song, and it was just a strange way to so-called honor them. Now, another performance Beyonce was called out for was when she took part in a 9/11 memorial concert in New York City. She performed her song Diva, which wasn't the right choice at all, as one of the lyrics include "No passengers on my plane," as well as "This is a stick-up," which she fiercely sang in front of all the families of 9/11 victims while putting her arms out like an airplane. Yeah, now whoever greenlit this performance is crazy, because why would they think that was okay? It was just in poor taste, and people are disgusted that she did that. And finally, we have Beyonce's connection to Diddy and everything that happened with her husband Jay-Z. Now, Beyonce and Jay-Z were very good friends with Diddy, who's now been arrested and is facing huge charges due to some disgusting criminal activity he took part in. Now, this has made many people question whether Beyonce took part in or knew about any of the illegal activities that Diddy was doing. I mean, she and Jay trusted Diddy so much they would play their unreleased music at his parties, the very parties where most of Diddy's crimes took place. Now, in December of 2024, Jay-Z was named in a lawsuit filed against Diddy, where a woman going by Jane Doe claimed that she was mistreated and taken advantage of by both Jay-Z and Diddy in the year 2000. She said she went to a house party with many celebrities who were there, and she claimed she was given a drink that made her feel woozy, lightheaded, and she felt like she needed to lie down. So she went into a room to rest, and shortly afterward, the suit says Diddy and Jay-Z entered the room, with Diddy saying, "You are ready to party." That's when she alleges she was taken advantage of by both men, while an unnamed female celebrity watched. Now, this suit was later dropped due to pressure from Jay-Z, but the whole thing is just suspicious. Beyonce never addressed this and still attended public events with Jay-Z after he had been accused of these horrible acts.
For those that are not chronically online, no need to worry, because I am here to explain why people are joking about celebrities being afraid of Beyonce. There is some truth to celebrities being afraid of the Queen Bee due to her position in the industry. It's true that Beyonce could have some sway over a musician's career. An endorsement from someone who's very established in the music scene and has worldwide appeal, that would boost any performer's career, which means the opposite can also be true, and Beyonce disliking you could lead to your career tanking. Of course, Beyonce could give her stamp of approval and your career still doesn't take off right away. That happened with Chloe Bailey. She was mentored by Beyonce Beyonce. Beyonce gave her notes on her debut solo album, they'd been pictured together many times, and yet Khloe's career hasn't really taken off yet. It goes to show that personal promotion is just as important as a famous stamp of approval. That doesn't mean Khloe isn't a talent, of course she absolutely is. She was originally part of a sister duo. When her sister was casted as Ariel in the Little Mermaid remake, that's when Khloe kind of branched out on her own. But anyways, a conspiracy went viral in 2024, and it's honestly still holding strong through 2025. That celebrities have to acknowledge Beyonce when they win something, as if she is the music industry's unchallenged leader, and not thanking her will lead to their inevitable downfall. This trend kind of started when people started noticing that a lot of celebrities would accept awards and then, in their speech, thank Beyonce or praise Beyonce in some way. This has been happening for many years, a prominent example being Adele's acceptance speech for Album of the Year at the 2017 Grammys. This was the year that Beyonce's Lemonade was also nominated. When Adele's 25 took the trophy, the Hello singer took the time to acknowledge the impact Beyonce's Lemonade had, and even said that she couldn't possibly accept the award because she believed Beyonce's album to be more deserving. She called Beyonce the artist of her life, and overall it was a really sweet moment that no one really thought twice about because Lemonade really was that good and impactful. But then more and more people threw thanks to Beyonce over the years, and pretty soon a conspiracy was born. It has roots in pre-existing conspiracies, like everyone in Hollywood is part of an evil organization, and industry plants, and one person holding all the cards, things like that. So basically, if an artist doesn't thank Beyonce, they can expect their career to end early. The idea is that Beyonce would use her pull in the music industry to systematically destroy someone's life. It paints a picture that the singer is spiteful, vengeful, and vain. Eventually, social media clued into this theory, and of course, they started making fun of it. The core of it all was, before you do anything major, you thank Beyonce. Not exactly for good luck, but more to ward off bad luck that you would be hit with if you didn't do it. Pretty soon, people would be adding a thank you Beyonce before major exams, at the end of presentations, before cooking, literally anything. Even major corporations got in on the action. Someone thanked Ryanair for 2 windows on a flight, and not wanting to risk an in-flight issue for their passenger, Ryanair thanked Beyonce. I loved this trend and I thought it was hilarious. Here's the thing. Beyonce has such a dedicated fan base, and if you thought that they were locked in today, you won't believe what they could accomplish at their height, which was around like 2013 to 2018-ish. In this era, if you openly roasted Beyonce, you could expect to have a bunch of angry Beyonce fans in your DMs. So yeah, it was kind of a thing that Beyonce could end your career, but at this time, it would be because you would lose a bunch of potential fans just for talking negatively about their favorite artist. Keisha Cole learned this the hard way in 2013. This was the year Beyonce released her track Bow Down. In response, Cole tweeted, "First, women need to stick together, now bees better bow down, shaking my head." Beyonce fans didn't take the call out well and went after Cole, insulting the artist's appearance, music style, and more. Since this moment, Cole hasn't reached the level of fame she once had. She is still releasing music, but is mainly known for her work pre-2013. When you hear the names Beyonce and Blue in the same sentence, you probably think of Beyonce and her daughter, but that wasn't the first Blue connected to the singer. In fact, some people theorize that Beyonce named her daughter Blue to bury someone else. The first Blue was Blue Cantrell. She was an R&B artist popular in the early 2000s, known for songs like Hit 'Em Up Style and Breathe. She was gaining popularity in similar genres to Beyonce, but that's hardly a reason to bury her like conspiracy theorists suggests. So why would she allegedly do that? According to this theory, it was all because of Jay-Z. Blue and Jay-Z were rumored to have been involved in 2001, right around the time that he started dating, now wife, Beyonce. But that was all rumors. It wasn't until 2003 that we got any real confirmation about what went down between the two. In a very candid interview with Wendy Williams, Cantrell shared all the details of her personal life that she was asked about anyways, and I mean like, nothing was off the table. They got into some interesting topics, to say the least, but if you know Wendy Williams, you know that woman loves drama and stirring up problems. She is messy, but she gets celebrities to admit things on camera you wouldn't expect, and this interview was no exception. The women are chatting over a bucket of champagne, and about 16 minutes into the interview, Williams flat out asks if Cantrell has slept with Jay-Z. Cantrell was adamant that they were never intimate with each other, and that she did believe that Jay-Z and his girlfriend Beyonce were very much in love. Of course, Wendy Williams pressed for more, and Cantrell ended up admitting that she had a big crush on the rapper and she didn't care who he was dating. She also shared that should Jay-Z walk in there and make a move, she wouldn't turn it down, she just wouldn't make the first move. This interview was actually released by Blue herself, which is really interesting considering she was essentially professing a crush on someone in a very public, committed relationship. It was on a DVD included with her 2003 album release. Those that believe Beyonce ended Blue's career mark this as the moment that everything kicked into gear. Blue was signed with Arista Records, specifically she was signed by L.A. Reid. The record company went through a major overhaul after Blue's second record was out. The overhaul didn't happen because of her, but it was just right around then. In the mess of everything, Blue's contract was not renewed for a third album because everyone just forgot. Blue later explained in a 2012 interview that she just didn't want to go back to the company if L.A. Reid wasn't there anymore, as her loyalty was to him. However, some people, they think there might be more to this story. Around this time, Jay-Z became a prominent figurehead for Def Jam, so I guess people think that he was able to sway the other record company into forgetting about Blue's contract. Blue's third album was being worked on at the time, but it never, even to this day, was released. Post the 2003 Wendy Williams interview, people kind of stopped hearing about Blue Cantrell. The singer almost disappeared off the face of the earth until 2014 when TMZ broke the story that she was taken into custody for a psychological evaluation. The singer was seen out on the streets at 2 a.m. screaming about someone allegedly poisoning her. Since this incident, Cantrell seems to be doing better though. She is still doing performances, though not as many as in her prime. Of course, now when you look up Blue and Jay-Z though, you're not going to get any results about this, at least not on the first few pages. People think that to really bury the situation in Singer, the Carters named their first child after her, which that's really something. Naming a child after an ex would be an interesting way to deal with the situation and makes people create even more wild theories that more stuff happened behind closed doors, because just saying you have a crush on someone in like a random DVD access interview feels like it wouldn't warrant that level of response. Beyonce and Jay-Z have shared the actual meaning behind Blue Ivy's name. Originally, her name was going to be Brooklyn, but then the first sonogram came and she was just so small, like a blueberry. The couple started calling her the nickname Blueberry or Little Blueberry. Eventually the berry fell off and what was left is Blue and Ivy, but that's not the focus here. It's a sweet story, and if it's true that Blue Cantrell never involved herself with Jay-Z like she said in that Wendy Williams interview, then there's no reason that Jay-Z couldn't use the name for his future daughter. But what do you think? Do you think Blue Cantrell's career fell off because of outside interference, or was she just a victim of unfortunate circumstances?
Thank you, Beyonce. And no, I'm not thanking her, but many celebrities have, and there's a bizarre theory around why. It's alleged that one of the closest people in her inner circle started this theory, and while we are still uncertain if there's any truth to it, it certainly is worth digging into. What started out as a conspiracy theory is now a trend that has everyone on social media thanking Beyonce. This all began when social media users noticed an unusual trend in celebrity artists thanking Beyonce in their acceptance speeches after being nominated for major awards. Although the artists did not collaborate with Beyonce or work with her in any way to create the awarded projects, the many artists still use their acceptance speeches as a moment to express their admiration and high regard for the singer. This has occurred particularly at the Grammy Awards. So in 2017, English singer-songwriter Adele thanked Beyonce when accepting the award for Album of the Year. Adele did not feel deserving of the award, as she acknowledged that Beyonce's album, titled Lemonade, was also nominated in the same category. Adele said during her acceptance speech, "I can't possibly accept this award, and I'm very humbled, and I'm very grateful and gracious, but the artist of my life is Beyonce." This occurred again in 2023 when American rapper and singer Lizzo thanked Beyonce after winning Record of the Year. At the time, Beyonce's song titled Break My Soul was also nominated in the same category. During her speech, Lizzo reflected on her first Destiny's Child concert and how she she was like enamored by Beyonce's vocals. Lizzo expressed, I was like, I want to make people feel this way with my music, so thank you so much. Beyonce has also been acknowledged on various award stages by celebrities like Megan Thee Stallion, Lady Gaga, and Britney Spears. These harmless acceptance speeches are now being interpreted as a negative narrative towards Beyonce, questioning her character and, her prominent role in the music industry. It is challenging to identify exactly why the public has sought this reaction, though conspiracy theorists believe celebrities praise Beyonce in their acceptance speeches because they understand her immense influence over the music industry and wish to remain successful in the public eye. One source said this conspiracy theory started with the passing of Aaliyah, who is the queen of urban pop who redefined contemporary R&B in the 1990s. Some people argue that her passing gave Beyonce the space to become the icon that she is today. In J. Cole's 2013 song She Knows, he mentions Aaliyah's passing. Now, some of the more deranged and unhinged TikTok users connect that song with Beyonce's friendship with P. Diddy, who has been at the center of conspiracy theories connected to Aaliyah's passing for years. The theory goes like this: thank Beyonce or face the consequences. Celebrities do tend to thank Beyonce a lot. Now, Kanye, rushed the stage when Taylor Swift beat Beyonce for Album of the Year. The list honestly goes on and on and on. The celebrity thanking has reached TikTok, of course, where users are thanking Beyonce at Thanksgiving, or for their dog not having cancer, or like literally for nothing. So the question is, have you thanked Beyonce today? Is Beyonce to blame for Liam Payne's passing? One source close to the singer has spread this crazy theory. Following the unexpected passing of Liam Payne, a new theory has emerged, implicating none other than Beyonce, Jay-Z, and P. Diddy. Now imagine the worldwide shock if any of this turned out to be true. Fans in the music industry are still shocked by the news of Liam Payne's passing. Although details, still remain kind of unclear, the coroner has already ruled out foul play for the former One Direction singer. But in the wake of his passing, fans began theorizing what might have happened, and one theory suggests that Beyonce was seen staying in the same hotel where Payne tragically fell from a third-floor balcony. On its own, this fact might seem insignificant, but social media detectives have supposedly found countless other connections between Payne's passing and Beyonce. In a past video, Payne is reported to have warned others to ignore Beyonce, even implying that she was dangerous. Payne also openly expressed a less than friendly view of P. Diddy, describing his smile and laughter as devilish and his presence as very unpleasant. Now, supporters of these theories believe that Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Diddy are just so powerful in the music world, that nearly every award show features celebrities, again, like I just spoke about, thanking Beyonce for their success, fearful of the supposed consequences of doing otherwise. Now, the suggestion is that, the lack of respect for the trio could mean career-ending repercussions. Now, while these theories might seem, outrageous, the internet is filled with those who find meaning in them. Conspiracy theories fulfill a certain, psychological need, even though the most far-fetched ideas lack evidence. Social media algorithms, boost emotionally charged stories, making it easier than ever to just spread these theories. The theory, though, may not add up because, first and foremost, neither Beyonce nor Liam Payne has publicly, in the past or now for Beyonce, even indicated any connection that would lend credibility to these claims. Okay, Beyonce's career has focused on, of course, creating music, empowering messages, maintaining a positive image, and of course, her social justice work. Meanwhile, Payne, as a former member of One Direction, has navigated his own path, post, boy band, encountering personal challenges, like any other high-profile celebrity might. The idea that there would be any, antagonism or hidden influence between them is unfounded, so take this all in, of course, with a grain of salt and come up with your own conclusion. Either way, rest in peace, Liam. Few theories to share with former Hills stars Spencer and Heidi Pratt about Beyonce and Jay-Z on an episode of the couple's Make Spidey Famous Again podcast. Now, Rose said she suspects Gwyneth Paltrow is Jay-Z's alleged mistress, who Beyonce dubbed Becky with the good hair on Lemonade. On the infamous Lemonade track, Sorry, Beyonce sings, "He only want me when I'm not there, he better call Becky with the good hair." The lyrics have been a mega mystery ever since, as fans have wondered, who could dare stand step between Jay and Bey. Now, a lot of speculation surrounded fashion designer Rachel Roy, who even captioned a now deleted Instagram post, "Good hair don't care," after Lemonade was released. But Rose has a different theory. She speculated on the podcast, saying that she definitely thinks that Gwyneth Paltrow is Becky with the good hair, and she feels like, she's the one who was sleeping with Jay-Z. Rose, who doesn't actually have investigative proof on the situation, explained her theory, saying the once public friendship between Paltrow and Beyonce seems to have hit a lull. Like, since Sorry came out and was released shortly after the Goop CEO and Coldplay singer Chris Martin announced their divorce. Now, Rose thinks the timing all makes sense. Amber continued to say they were like friends, and then, you don't see Gwyneth Paltrow and Beyonce anymore, but Beyonce's still with Jay. Though she admitted that she doesn't actually know if Paltrow and Jay-Z ever had an affair, Rose noted, "I'm surprised no one has thought of this." Rose is correct when she says that the pair of, A-listers did appear to, boast a close relationship in the past, and that they haven't hit red carpet worthy events together for some time. As Paltrow shared with Ellen DeGeneres on the Comedian's Talk Show in 2010, she and Beyonce actually met at a charity event sometime in the 2000s. She actually said to Ellen, "We just kind of hooked up, hit it off, and became really close friends." Paltrow has apparently been good friends with Beyonce and Jay-Z for years, calling the twosome the greatest people ever during a 2015 radio interview on the Howard Stern Show. She added at that time, "They are funny and sweet and self-aware and really intelligent." As for the cheating allegations, Paltrow's rep said it is completely absurd and 100% false. Beyonce and Jay-Z reportedly separated for a year in 2005, as revealed in the 2015 biography Becoming Beyonce by J. Randy Taraborelli. He suggested that the split coincided with Jay's scouting of Rihanna, sparking rumors of a supposed affair. Now, speaking to Entertainment Tonight at the time, Taraborelli said Beyonce didn't know what to make of this, and it actually ended up breaking them up for a time. They spent maybe a year apart from each other because Beyonce just wasn't sure what to make of the situation with Rihanna. Now, in a candid chat with BBC's Newsbeat, Taraborelli defended his bombshell claims despite not speaking directly with Beyonce for his book. He said, "Well, my job as a biographer is to take a look at, all of the persistent rumors and see if it is possible to unpack them. We found the publicist who was working for one of Rihanna's producers. His job was to promote Rihanna's first single, Pon de Replay. He went on to expose a manufactured scandal, saying in that capacity he began to float the untrue story that Rihanna and Jay were having an affair. This was not true. We interviewed him and he confessed that he planted the story in an effort to promote Rihanna." Now, further shedding light on this web of deception, the former publicist Jonathan Hay confirmed Taraborelli's story, offering apologies to music power couple Jay-Z and Beyonce after spreading, the false information. Despite safeguarding the identity of those who provided insights, Taraborelli notes his sources have nothing to gain by talking to him, and often they had a lot to lose, also claiming that it was people in Beyonce's inner circle that corroborated these claims and provided him more insight. So, the shade of that all, right? Now, the author elaborated on his credibility, saying, "This is my 18th book. I've had 14 bestsellers, so, me and my research team, we really have sort of a gut for this work. I can tell when somebody is being honest. Everybody is interviewed and re-interviewed, and then their stories are compared with other stories of people who are in the same situations. So we really do a lot of work to corroborate everything that we hear." Now, despite allegations of a split, neither Jay-Z nor Beyonce have, of course, made any public remarks on this. Reason number 1, overexposure. Now, before I dive into the reasons behind this fatigue, let me make it clear that she is undoubtedly one of the most talented. In recent years, though, Beyonce has been everywhere. Beyonce has faced criticism for overexposure and oversaturation, particularly in the mid-2010s. Critics argue that her constant presence in the media and her prolific output of music and performances have led to fatigue and decreased interest in her brand. She's released several albums, gone on tour, performed at countless award shows, and even launched her own activewear line. While it's understandable that she wants to stay relevant and capitalize on her success, the sheer volume of her output has started to feel overwhelming to some fans. When you're constantly bombarded with Beyonce's music videos, and endorsement deals, it's only natural to start feeling a little fatigued. Lack of authenticity. Another reason why some fans may be feeling tired of Beyonce is the perception that she's become too calculated and manufactured. With the rise of social media, it's become increasingly easy for celebrities to curate a perfect image of themselves, and Beyonce is no exception. While she's always been known for her polished performances and music videos, some fans feel that she's lost touch with her roots and is now more focused on maintaining a flawless public image than creating genuine art. One person on social media said, "Sometimes I do feel like the only thing Beyonce doesn't have that Prince and Madonna and MJ etc. did have is a consistently high quality discography. Everything else seems impressive. Her dedication, perfectionism, and ambition is absolutely the stuff of legend, but she doesn't yet have the collection of music to back it up, I feel. In time she will, I'm sure of it." Another person said, "She is quite overrated in my opinion. She's a good and occasionally great artist, but in recent years it seems like people and critics have been praising and revering her as highly, as artists like MJ, Prince, Bowie, and Madonna were praised in their heyday. I think people want another huge legendary pop star that can be looked back on as one of the greatest to ever do it, but in my opinion, Beyonce just doesn't quite cut it. That said, she is an amazing performer." Unrelatability. Beyonce's music and public persona have always been centered around themes of female empowerment, love, and self-discovery. However, as she's grown older and more successful, some fans have started to feel like they can't relate to her as much as they used to. Her music has become more experimental and avant-garde, which may appeal to some fans, but not to others. Additionally, her luxurious lifestyle and high-profile marriage to Jay-Z have made her seem increasingly out of touch with the everyday concerns and struggles of her fans. One person online came to her defense and said, "This is a very unpopular opinion, but I feel like the relatable criticisms are from people that want to be nosy as well as find something very negative about her in order to be sanctimonious and sit in their high horse." Now it's a cycle of, let's trauma bond all the while I'm going to silently judge you and think highly of myself for this one little thing. I've already seen people do this with Kiki, Cardi, Megan, Nicki, and several others, because let's face it, the little bit of information that we know about her is stuff that is relatable. Someone actually agreed with this person saying, "I agree with you. What's funny is there is a lot we know about her personal life. Obviously it's not everything, but we know about her infertility issues, marriage troubles, babies in the NICU, parents' divorce issues, injuries, etc. A lot of these things are plenty significant and relatable, but people ignore that because it's not really about relating, it's about judgment." Overemphasis on visuals. In recent years, Beyonce has placed an increasing emphasis on visuals in her music and live performances. While her music videos and concerts are undoubtedly stunning and meticulously, choreographed, some fans feel that she's prioritizing style over substance. With the rise of streaming services and social media, it's become easier than ever for artists to just focus on creating visually striking content that generates buzz and goes viral. However, this approach can sometimes come at the expense of meaningful lyrics and genuine emotional connection. Unrealistic expectations is another reason. Some fans may be feeling tired of Beyonce because they've placed unrealistic expectations on her. Beyonce has been accused of cultural appropriation. Beyonce has faced criticism for cultural appropriation, particularly in her music videos and performances. Her 2018 Coachella performance was criticized for borrowing heavily from historically black colleges and universities' culture without proper understanding, credit, or compensation. Use of African culture. Beyonce has been accused of using, African culture as a prop, particularly also in her music videos and performances. Some fans have also criticized Beyonce for not adequately representing the cultures she appropriates, now leading to accusations of exploitation. At the time of the Super Bowl in February of 2024, Beyonce released 2 new singles that sounded a little different than her usual stuff. One of those 2 singles, called, Texas Hold'em, went on to #1 on the Billboard Hot Country chart and eventually #1 on just the Billboard Hot 100. In late March of that year, Beyonce followed up with the release of her new album Cowboy Carter that featured artists like Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton. The outrage was not far behind though. There were some who suggested that since Beyonce was, a black artist, she had no business messing around with country music. There were others who suggested that Beyonce was purposefully, making a mockery of a sacred genre. And yet even others suggested that this was a clear example of the dreaded, cultural appropriation that gets tossed around like a yo-yo with the worst possible timing. The reality is, though, that Beyonce was born and raised in Texas, and her mother is a Texas native and her father's from Alabama. It wouldn't be a stretch to understand that Beyonce grew up listening to some high-quality country music, all her life. Music industry controversies. There's been a lot of accusations of Beyonce stealing ideas. Beyonce has faced accusations of stealing from other artists, including Khalees and Destiny's Child's former manager, Matthew Knowles, who is also, of course, her father and her ex-manager. Now, the Milkshake singer called out Beyonce, as well as producers Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo, for sampling her 2003 single on the song Energy. Allegedly without her permission, Khalees claimed, via Instagram in July 2022, saying, "My mind is blown too because the level of disrespect and utter ignorance of all three parties involved is astounding. I heard about this the same way everyone else did. Nothing is ever as it seems. Some of the people in this business have no soul or integrity and they have everyone fooled." Though neither Beyonce nor her team publicly commented on Khalees' post, the sample appeared to be removed from the Spotify version of Energy in early August 2022, although it can still be heard on Apple Music, so give it a listen. So a lot of sampling without permission has been speculated many times, and Beyonce has been accused of sampling another person's song without permission, a Nigerian singer, Tiwa Savage. Now, there was also a lawsuit over Formation. Allegedly, Beyonce was sued by the estate of Anthony Barr, a New Orleans-based YouTube personality, over the use of his voice and likeness in her song Formation. Now, in 2025, Beyonce won the Grammy for Best Country Album for her album Cowboy Carter, becoming the first Black woman to win in that category. However, some fans and critics said that other nominees were more deserving. In August 2022, Beyonce announced that she would change the lyrics to her song Heated following backlash from disability rights activists. The track includes lines in the song which features a slang term derived from the word spastic. Now, activists argued that the word is considered a slur among people with cerebral palsy. Her team said in a statement at the time, the word, not used intentionally in a harmful way, will be replaced, but many just called her to be canceled after that. Beyonce's personal life controversies have taken a toll on her reputation also, and they're making people just tired of her. Jay-Z's, infidelity. Beyonce's husband admitted to his infidelity in his 2017 album 444, leading to speculation about the state of their marriage. There was also, the rumors of a fake pregnancy. Remember when some fans accused Beyonce of faking her 2011 pregnancy with Blue Ivy, sparking a very heated debate, which of course, mostly stemmed from that interview that she did in Australia, where people saw her stomach fold like a frisbee. Now, her feud with Kim Kardashian is also problematic. Beyonce and Kim have been rumored to have had a feud, with some speculating it's over Jay-Z's friendship with Kanye West. Now, last but not least, her business controversies have taken a toll and called many people to want her to be canceled this year. To start, her Ivy Park clothing line. Beyonce's Ivy Park clothing line faced a lot of criticism for its high prices and lack of diversity in its marketing. Not to mention, it was reported that these fits were being made by workers who were getting paid like next to nothing. So basically a sweatshop. Workers actually told The Sun that all they do is work, sleep, work, sleep, work, sleep. Ivy Park denied the allegations, claiming to have an ethical trading program, factory inspections and audits, and all is good, allegedly. BuzzFeed posted 33 photos of Beyonce from her halftime show that she hated so much she got her publicist, Yvette Noel Schur, to email them, demanding 7 of them be removed. As a public figure, Beyonce's life is constantly under scrutiny. For someone who seemingly always has everything under her control, there have been a few times she hasn't, and this was one of those times. In the email that BuzzFeed received from Beyonce's publicist, it read, "Thanks for taking my call. As discussed, there are some unflattering photos on your current feed that we are respectfully asking you to change. I am certain you will be able to find some better photos." Then she listed them as number 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 19, and 22, and ended off her email with just a simple "thank you very much." BuzzFeed said they emailed back asking for further explanation, but didn't receive a response, so they kept the photos up. The original article that BuzzFeed actually posted had 33 photos in it, and they labeled it as the 33 fiercest moments from Beyonce's halftime show. Beyonce's, 2013 Super Bowl halftime show was a showcase of female empowerment and a reunion with her former bandmates. The performance was praised by critics and became one of the most tweeted about moments of the time. Beyonce performed a medley of her hits, including Crazy in Love, Love on Top, End of Time, and Baby Boy. She was joined by her former Destiny's Child bandmates Michelle Williams and Kelly Rowland. The performance was described as frenetic and fierce. Some critics said it was proof of life and the night's true event. Her outfit, though, is what most people talked about, however, with many saying it didn't give off feminine vibes, which now makes sense as to why the photos she didn't want us all to see looked rather masculine and kind of unflattering. Many people were trying to guess, the designer, Thierry Mugler, Givenchy Couture. That's what we suspected watching Beyonce's hardcore leather and lace corset and boots outfit, or was it just leather and lace at the Super Bowl halftime show? But no, it's in fact the work of New York designer Ruben Singer. Singer is no stranger to the world of fashion, but designing the costumes for a style icon like Beyonce to perform at one of the year's most widely viewed sporting events was a completely different situation for him. Singer had worked with the singer, songwriter, and actress over the years and presented, storyboards from his fall 2013 collection to Beyonce's stylist Raquel Smith and Ty Hunter right after Thanksgiving. The concept perfectly captured the diva's vision for her Super Bowl performance. After he received the assignment, Knowles and Singer set forth on an accelerated collaborative process in early December. The next 2 months involved no less than 5 fittings and well over 200 man-hours, with a team of 14 dedicated people to creating the final look at the designer's New York City store. 1 full week leading up to the event in daily dress rehearsals at the New Orleans Superdome was also required to make sure everything was perfect for the big night. The stage costumes are based on Singer's fall 2013 collection entitled Valkyrie's Dominion. Now, in Norse mythology, a Valkyrie is a female figure who decides which soldiers pass in battle and which live. Other points of inspiration come from the striking images of late 70s, early 80s Helmut Newton and the play on masculine-feminine associated with 1930s film actress Marlene Dietrich. Now, the performance's opening look, set to the hit song Crazy in Love, consisted of 2 pieces. A black leather cropped motorcycle jacket with exaggerated shoulders and an asymmetrical collar with dramatic wing cuffs were paired with a micro-mini asymmetrical wrap skirt in liquid nylon, made of nylon, metal, silk, and plastic that Singer exclusively created for her. Later in the performance, after removing the motorcycle jacket, Knowles wore a black leather bodysuit reminiscent of warrior armor. Stripes of engineered python, paneled iguana, and trampunto pick stitch leather were sewn together in contrast to the, flounce skirt and insets of delicate black chantilly lace in areas where skin can be seen. This item proved to be incredibly challenging, as it sounds, and as it is not only needed to be dramatic, but also had to withstand the, rigorous dance moves required for the performance. Singer said, "This piece is truly couture in every way." While describing the process, he said, "My seamstresses were assembling all of the leather and exotic skins individually by hand. All of the pieces were separate details that were all constructed for her body and on her body. We had to make the bodysuit have a tremendous range of motion and flexibility." Beyonce is such a fierce and intense performer, so we could not, have the outfit constrict her in any way, which I totally get. In addition to Beyonce's costumes, Singer created the costume for former Destiny's Child bandmate Michelle Williams, as well as the jackets for the show's 120 backup dancers. Singer presented, his fall-winter 2013 collection during New York City's Fashion Week that year. Now, BuzzFeed presented, the look in a series of photos highlighting each striking pose she did, each facial expression that she made, and, contrary to the public's opinion, and Beyonce's opinion too, BuzzFeed said that every single photo looked fierce, strong, and beautiful. One person on social media said, "If I were a celebrity on the outside, I'd be like, haha, those pics are so funny, guys, I look crazy. But on the inside, I'd be be like, if I see this picture one more time, I'm gonna lose it. People are making fun of me because I was dancing my behind off for my performance. I trained so hard for this, I'm gonna flip. Oh my God, delete the internet, I hate everyone. Another person on Twitter said, my dad once posted a photo on Facebook of me mid-blink eating a chocolate. I would have straight up unalived my dad before letting, that stay online, so I don't blame her. Another person provided, a different perspective, saying, those are obviously unflattering pics, but she served an amazing and powerful performance with all that energy. One could expect those kind of gestures. It's sad that she desperately wanted to erase them, but on the other hand, I know how cruel some people can be on the internet making memes and stuff. Fast forward now to the most recent halftime show, which many say Beyonce arguably delivered one of the greatest halftime shows in NFL history, and it wasn't even the Super Bowl. The 43-year-old pop star took the field midway through the Christmas game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans to perform first-time live renditions of several hit tracks off her latest Grammy-nominated album, Cowboy Carter. As to be expected, there appeared to be several Easter eggs and hidden messages embedded not only within her show-stopping performance, but also within pre- and post-show, promotional content. While Queen Bee, was famously joined by her eldest daughter, Blue Ivy Carter, Post Malone, and Shaboozey during the performance, there were several lesser known but still notable figures that took the stage beside her too. In her pre-recorded intro, she sang her version of Blackbird by the Beatles alongside fellow Black country stars, Raina Roberts, Tanner Adele, Brittany Spencer, and Tiara Kennedy, who also are actually featured on the track. At various moments throughout the show, Beyonce also showcased several groundbreaking, country icons, including Mexican cowgirl Melanie Rivera, pioneering bull rider Meredith Stiteman Jr., Miss Rodeo Texas Princess 2004, and Miss Rodeo Texas 2015, Nikki Woodward, and the first Black rodeo queen in Arkansas, Jediah Kirsch. Now, meanwhile, a caravan carrying Houston Texans owner Cal McNair and his wife Hannah rode onto the field as Beyonce sang her cover of Dolly Parton's Jolene. The Texans cheerleaders fittingly made up part of her backup dancing ensemble, in addition to nearly 200 members of Texas Southern University's Ocean of Soul marching band. During her pre-recorded intro of 16 Carriages, Beyonce could be seen passing by exactly 16 Cadillacs as she rode through the stadium's, tunnels on a white horse. When it came time for Post Malone's, guest appearance for their song, the two actually duetted, while leaning against a pickup truck appropriately covered all in denim. Now, all of the photos that were taken, Beyonce definitely approved of this time. She made sure that no one was gonna play with her, this go around. And you could tell she didn't make any strong facial expressions or movements that would look unflattering in photos. Let's start with all the claims of her cultural appropriation and insensitivity. In 2016, Beyonce faced backlash for her music video Formation, which featured African-American cultural symbols and imagery. Critics accused Beyonce of profiting from Black culture without properly understanding or respecting its history and significance. For example, writer and activist Rachel Kadizi Gonse, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, wrote an essay criticizing Beyonce for her use of African-American cultural symbols, stating, Beyonce's Formation is a masterclass in how to take Black cultural production and turn it into a product that can be sold to white people. Another notable instance is also seen in the music video Hymns for the Weekend by Beyonce and Coldplay. Although it is a great and catchy song to many, we have seen multiple scenes in the music video of culture being used as entertainment and accessories. In the video, we see Hindu temples, Indian people, Indian civilization, meditation being done, festivals celebrated, and a Hindu god. The music video overall has a variety of positive Indian culture shown, but what makes this music video debatable is the fact that Beyonce is using the Indian clothes as accessories, even though she is not Indian herself. What could have had, this music video be less debatable is if Coldplay collaborated with an Indian singer who knows about her culture and the clothing she was wearing. If this Indian singer would have replaced Beyonce, then she would have known that hennas are not from Indian culture. This already provides, a lack of knowledge that the artist has on the culture itself, which can be seen as disrespectful to many, especially in the Indian culture, as said before. before, Indians have a strong, respected foundation for their ancestors and their heritage. In the video, the person who is grabbing all of the attention from the viewers is Beyonce herself. There are Indian women there that could have stolen the spotlight, but we see how this cultural appropriation comes into the picture when Beyonce uses the best jewelry and clothing for the public, just as how the Kardashian uses, black culture to show themselves off, but that's a topic for another time. Next, feminism and hypocrisy. Beyonce has been accused of hypocrisy for her feminist stance, with some critics arguing that her music and performances often objectify women and perpetuate patriarchal values. For instance, in 2013, Beyonce performed at the Super Bowl halftime show where she sang and danced in a very revealing costume, sparking criticism from some feminists who argued that her performance was contradictory to her feminist ideals. Writer and feminist Bell Hooks criticized Beyonce for her feminist stance, stating, "Beyonce's feminism is not about ending patriarchy. It's about getting a bigger piece of the pie." Bell Hooks criticized Beyonce's feminism and image, arguing that, while she uses her platform to discuss black female pain, her approach is narrow and simplistic, focusing on gaining power within existing structures rather than actually dismantling them, and that her image can be seen as perpetuating harmful stereotypes. Some people did come to Beyonce's defense, and one person on social media said, "I felt like she was criticizing Beyonce because her preferred method of self-expression in Lemonade didn't actually jive with Hook's idea of what feminism is." Another person said, "How can she determine whether or not one's method of healing is inadequate? It's Beyonce's narrative. She can resolve it how she wishes. I see it as another version of Piers Morgan's, issues with the album, which I interpreted as, I'd like it better if you expressed yourself in a way that is more my taste." It's almost as if she's implying the only feminist way of moving beyond the hurt and betrayal is if Beyonce were to divorce or abandon her husband. Now, in my opinion, I think Bell Hooks had some very fair points, but I also think she criticized Beyonce so much because that's what sold her books. She has gone on record saying, though, she recognizes that she could be critical of Beyonce, yet also does appreciate aspects of her power and representation. Beyonce has faced criticism for her involvement in the Black Lives Matter movement and her position with activism, with some critics arguing that her activism is superficial and self-serving. In 2016, Beyonce performed at the BET Awards where she and her dancers wore Black Panther-inspired costumes, sparking criticism from some activists who argued that her performance was a form of cultural appropriation and that she was using the movement for her own gain. Beyonce's dancers wore black leather, afros, and berets, which some saw as a direct reference to the Black Panther Party, which was a 1960s black nationalist organization known for its revolutionary stance and focus on community empowerment and self-defense. The song Formation, released before the Super Bowl, was seen as a powerful anthem about black identity, resilience, and resistance, further fueling the perception of the performance as a political statement. Many conservatives, law enforcement organizations, and social media users criticized the performance and the song, viewing them as anti-police, anti-American, and anti-white, particularly due to references to police executions of unarmed black men and the song's overall tone of defiance. The performance and the song generated a very strong backlash, with some calling for a boycott of Beyonce and others defending her right to express her views and celebrate her heritage. Activist and writer Kevin Powell criticized Beyonce for her activism, stating, "Beyonce's version of activism is more about branding and marketing than actual movement building." Her personal life and relationships. Beyonce's personal life and relationships have also been subject to criticism and scrutiny, of course. In 2014, Beyonce's sister Solange Knowles physically attacked Jay-Z in an elevator, sparking criticism and speculation about the state of their marriage. Some critics have also accused Beyonce of using her personal life and relationships as just a marketing tool, with some arguing that her music and performances often kind of blur the lines between, her personal and public life. In this day and age, so many scandals come and go with the wind. Very few have real staying power in the microwave nature of social media. However, Elevator Gate happened at a time when everything was magnified, and this drama remained the subject of conversations and memes for weeks and months and years leading up to the release of her album Lemonade, which dropped in April of 2016. One song on the album, Sorry, was particularly casting light of what we knew about the tension between Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Solange. It was widely speculated that the elevator fight was actually down to Solange confronting Jay about his alleged cheating, and Sorry only fueled the rumors to a very stunning degree. Beyonce sings in the outro, coining an iconic pop culture term, "He only want me when I'm not there, he better call Becky with the good hair." But for years, and to this day, who is Becky with with the good hair. It must surely be one of the most Google searches like ever. Various female celebrities found themselves subjected to rumors that they could be Jay-Z's mistress, with Rihanna being a rumor, Rita Ora, and Rachel Roy among those who were at the center of this speculation. However, most denied it and distanced themselves from the scandal, leaving the identity of Becky a mystery to this day. According to an insider, Becky actually doesn't really exist, and Becky was just a combination of women. Music industry politics and controversy. Beyonce has faced criticism for her music industry politics and controversies, with some critics arguing that she has used her power and influence to sabotage other artists and further her own career. Back in 2014, Beyonce faced backlash for her surprise album release, which some argued was a deliberate attempt to overshadow other artists and dominate the music industry. Some critics have also accused Beyonce of using her connections in the music industry and influence to silence critics and suppress dissent. Now, for example, in 2016, Beyonce's team was accused of trying to silence critics who were speaking out against her music and performances. Beyonce's venture into country music, particularly her recent album Cowboy Carter, her album and performances sparked such a debate about her, countryness and whether a pop star could authentically cross into that genre. Some country radio stations initially refused to even play Beyonce's country songs, citing that they were just not country enough, which raised questions about systemic exclusion of Black artists in country music. That's not the only album, though, that received a ton of criticism. Her Renaissance album did as well. Singer Robin Stone found out that her 90s house hit Show Me Love was sampled on Break My Soul, the lead single from Beyonce's album Renaissance, and at the same time as everyone else, she found that out. As the performer rather, than the writer and producer of the song, her approval wasn't actually required to clear its use, nor does she receive any income from it. So while Stone sees the nod as a compliment and proof of, her 30-year relevancy, it also brings up old wounds. The writers of the song, Alan George and Fred McFarlane, never gave her proper credit. She said, "That first note is mine. The ad-libs are all mine. I added flavor to it. They've been eating at my table, and I've been feeding their families for well over 30 years." Stone isn't the only artist, though, startled by the use of their music on Renaissance. Beyonce removed an interpolation, a kind of sampling that sees song excerpts, re-recorded and often reworked. That comes from Khaleesi's 2003 hit Milkshake from the song Energy, after the latter publicly criticized Beyonce for not having the common decency just to let her know that she was using it. As Khaleesi explained, the situation rehashed an alleged dispute with the track's credited songwriters Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo of the Neptunes, who she claims swindled her out of publishing rights for the two albums they made together. The discourse around Renaissance has opened up questions about the politics of sampling in modern pop. Today, sampling is a huge business. In the credits for the 16-track on Renaissance, there are nods to 17 other songs. Beyonce has tried pretty hard lately to stay out of the spotlight, and so aside from her recent country album Grammy win, not much new has happened to keep her on this hate train. But haters are gonna hate, right? Are you team Beyonce right now? Or would you like to see less of her in 2025? Let me know.